One of the biggest fitness myths that I ever fell for was this idea that you don't want your body to get used to what you're doing in your exercise or your workouts. That supposedly that would be a bad thing because once your body gets used to it, then you stop making progress. But over the years, I've come to understand that not only was I gravely mistaken about that, acclimation and getting used to the workouts that you're doing is exactly what you should always be striving for in order to make progress in your training. So greetings, my friend, and welcome once again to my YouTube channel, where we are simplifying fitness by putting you in better alignment with the fundamental principles of Mother and human nature. And today we're observing this idea that if you don't get used to what you're doing and your body's always kind of kept like off balance and off kilter, that's actually greatly slowing and handicapping your success in your workouts. Take any other discipline in, well, anything you can do, from learning a new language or a musical instrument, and you're trying to basically get good at it, right? You want to be good at speaking the new language or playing the instrument or learning the skill. But if you're always struggling with the most basic techniques, then you can never ascend to a higher level. And fitness and exercise is exactly the same thing. You want to get good at the push-ups, at the squats. You want to become more proficient at it. And if you're always changing things up so much that you can never get some sure footing with it, well, that's like changing up what you're practicing with the musical instrument, and you never get really comfortable with the most basic fundamental techniques. And that is why your objective with any type of training that you're doing, from calisthenics, powerlifting, skills work, everything, is to basically get so used to the techniques and the exercises that in time you can practically do them in your sleep. You get really, really proficient at practicing them, and you get, quote, used to it mentally, physically, emotionally. You want to feel like it's ingrained into your nervous system, because the faster and the more you get used to your basic exercises, that sets up your foundation. So then you can use more resistance, you can do more repetitions, you can use more advanced techniques, and it's those advancements or progressions that gets you the better results. And it's not so much that getting used to it is going to get you better results, but getting used to it then allows you to make those progressions, and that's where you get the better results from. But I know what you're thinking. It's like, yeah, but why change things up then? Because obviously there is clear evidence, scientifically and anecdotally, that when we change things up in our workouts, that spurs on a little bit of a spark of change, development, adaptation, and it just even feels good. So are you suggesting that we should just stick to the same thing and do it until we're just so bored and tired of it and we never change anything up? And no, not at all. Change and variety is still very good, but not because it keeps you off guard or off kilter and kind of keeps you shocked and guessing. It's because when we change things up, we're creating a more broad range of stimuli for the muscles to adapt to. So if we're always doing the same exercise the same way all the time, we're focusing on a very narrow range of stimulus. So we're only developing so much strength and so much endurance and so much stability and so on. So when you have different variations of the techniques that you're using, now you're subjecting yourself to having a stimulus of the same type of exercise, like let's say push-up, but we're saying, okay, now we need to do it with more strength or more endurance or more stability. And collectively, that means that we're getting a lot more out of that exercise than if we only did it one way. And lastly, I'm a very big fan of getting a good broad range of stimuli in the same workout, which is why my grind style approach has 4 phases, to give you a little bit more of a synergistic and collective stimuli versus just doing the same exercises the same way week in and week out, which not only can just be kind of boring and tedious, but it doesn't give you nearly as much of that variety of stimuli that you can get than if you were to bring some new exercises and new ways of subjecting your muscle to stress and stimulation in either the same workout or throughout the week. More here on those exact approaches, and as well as my books down below in the description if you want to check those out. Thank you so much for watching. As always, be fit and live free.